A new area has been restricted.
It's just not real. It's just not real.
A subject has been terminated. Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors.
Okay, my
3
goodness.
survivors remain.
Hi there, the name's Nico, and today I'll be going over what I consider to be the best Nicky build. Nicky was released a few days ago, and she is an okay character. I do think she needs some of her base stats increased, but regardless, let's go over how you want to use Nicky's kit. Nicky's kit revolves around her passive Short-Tempered. Her passive is that she has a rage meter that not only allows her autos to do more damage, and her target takes skill damage, but she then has access to her Enraged E, Fury Jab, and her ultimate Pure Rage Uppercut. Fury Jab is her main source of damage. Pure Rage Uppercut is probably the worst ultimate in the game at the time of this recording, but Pure Rage Uppercut allows Nicky to dash towards an enemy and becomes unstoppable, dealing damage. The best way for Nicky to get Rage is to use her W, Guard in Reverse. Guard in Reverse reduces the damage taken, is immune to CC and debuffs, and if she guards successfully, she will rush forward, dealing damage and rooting the enemy. Also, if she guards successfully, the cooldown will be reduced. Her Q, Slugfest, is the best way for her to engage and disengage from fights. Slugfest allows Nicky to dash forward and do damage depending on how much she charges the ability. The second part of Nicky's Q does damage and gives her 100 rage. Hitting an enemy will reduce the cooldown. So the build is Buddha's Palm, Rocker's Jacket, Imperial Crown, Sheath the Shah Jahan, Straight Jacket Sneakers, and Revenge of the Gojin. The route is Temple, School, Archery Range, Hotel, Beach. The build ID is displayed on screen. It is also linked and written in the description. Unfortunately, Temple and Archery Range are almost always busy. With this route though, there's a lot of things you can grab later on if you don't get it from Temple, and the items that you need in Temple should not be a problem to get. You do need 3 paper with this build, which is one of the biggest issues, but since you go to both Temple and Archery Range, you should not have a problem getting them. If you do only get 1 paper, make sure to turn it into Ash and not a blueprint, since you do need Ash to make your weapon. If you could not find 3 papers between Temple and Archery Range, you can often just get Ash or a blueprint off the Wolves in Hotel or the Bears in Beach. The next hardest thing to get will be the 3 hammers in Beach. Often you can get a ruby or iron sheets on either the Wolves or Bears, but if you do not get 3 hammers, I would take the teleporter in Uptown to go to the alley, as alley generally has extra hammers. The people you'll generally run into in Hotel will be Leon or Aya. You should not go near Hotel Tree if you see pings, as you aren't that strong at this point, so you should not see the usual tree contenders. On Beach, you probably will run into other Nickys, Yukis, or Ayas. I found that this build is faster than the Uchiwa version of this build, so you should be able to kill any of the Nickys you run into. You want to start attacking people at least once everything but your arm piece is done. You really need Imperial Crown before attacking anyone, as you are quite squishy without it. Sheetha Shah Jahan gives you more of an HP buffer, but is not nearly as needed as Crown is. The skill order for this build is Q, E, W, R or Ultimate, and then your passive. You do not want to put a point into your ultimate until you have maxed out Q, W, and E. Her ultimate is really useless. In the gameplay footage, I never used my ultimate once. But if they change her ultimate to be better than her Enraged E, then you want to put points into your ultimate when available. If this happens, I will update the saved skill order. You do not have to worry about memorizing the skill order. Food-wise, you want to make garlic bread in Temple. Garlic bread is really strong early game food. In school, if you find more than 2 lighters, I would hold on to them to make food later on, but if you don't, do not worry. You want to loot any blue airdrops near you, as they almost always have rare food in them, which will be better than garlic bread. Killing people in Beach should also provide you with a plentiful amount of food. Nicky really doesn't have SP problems after you finish looting school. All characters have SP problems in the early game because you are crafting a lot as well as looting a lot, so you want to either make soju or just drink the water you have. In Hotel, you want to make at least 1 type of SP drink, whether it is lemonade, highballs, on the rocks, or even ice water. You most likely won't have to use them, but you should always have 1 stack of SP drinks on hand. Transition item-wise, there are a few things you can change to. For your weapon, you want to switch to Mithril Gloves. The attack power ratios on Nicky are quite good, and Mithril Gloves have a lot of attack power on them compared to Buddha's Palm, and make up for the loss of Spell Amp. The movement speed on Mithril Gloves is quite good too. For your chest piece, Rockers is already pretty good. I would switch the mithril armor, especially if people left in your lobby are spell amp characters. You can switch the cabana, but Rocker's jacket has healing reduction and normal attack damage reduction, so switching would also depend on the characters left in your lobby. If the character relies on ENAD such as Rio or William, then I would keep Rocker's jacket on. For your arm piece, any of the RNG arm pieces are better. I would use auto arms, but if you have under 2000 HP and you find Bracelet of Scotty, I would use that instead. Mythos Shield is better than Shah Jahan. For your helmet, you do not want to switch off of Imperial Crown as you are really squishy without at least 1 HP item. Crown has Skill Amp on it as well, which works really well with Nicky. For your shoes, you really want to get it off of straight jackets, whether it's to Glacial Shoes, Boots of Hermes, or Red Shoes. If you get a Force Core, I would make Boots of Hermes before Auto Arms if you are still in straight jackets. Auto Arms is not as big of an upgrade from Shah Jahan as Boots of Hermes is to straight jackets. For your accessory, I would switch to Emerald Tablet or Sanguine Gunbai. Switching off of Revenge of the Gojin is not a priority switch. You should prioritize switching your arm and shoes. If you do get Wickeline, I would make Auto Arms and Red Shoes if you haven't changed out your starting items. Ability combo, you want to engage with your Q and then use your Q again. You want to use your W when you know they are going to attack you. If you guard successfully, you want to use your Enraged E, then E again. Then you want to finish off with Glove Skill. Because you're stacking so much attack power, your Glove Skill is really strong, and you want to use your Glove Skill as much as possible. After you've used Glove Skill, restart the combo. If they are really far away from you and they have a way to prevent you from catching up, such as Adriana's W that is not lit on fire, then you'd want to use your ultimate. But because these situations are so rare, I would not bother with your ultimate. Now that I've explained the build, here's a game showing it in action. And this spawn's not the best, to be
Experiment will
honest.
now begin. Satellite radar activated.
I'm screwed here. I'm looting behind another Nicky.
Phew, what a hassle. Are there any nausea meds here? Not like I need it or anything. This guy used to sit next to me and always annoyed me about doing my homework. I guess I appreciate it now. Almost there. Leftover props?
Okay.
This'll hurt! I can catch arrows with my teeth.
Make that.
This is tricky. I'm just not used to it, okay? Full power.
We need paper.
This'll hurt. Ew, what a hassle.
Even these ones are looted. Okay, we gotta get
Brace
going.
yourself. I can catch arrows with my teeth. Leftover props?
Okay, we got that. Oh wait, oh my gosh, they're both down here.
Almost there. It ain't garbage. Think I can go snag a quick shower? Ew, what a hassle.
There we go. Make their shoes.
Terminated.
Not half bad. Sorry.
Figure our weapon.
This is kind of fun. Not half bad. Don't break anything. Man, I used to have a nice, comfy.
A new area has been restricted.
That's TP. Oh, we can kill the wolves here. Oh. Wait. Okay, we'll take this.
Full power. Take this.
Okay. Whatever.
Are there any nausea meds here? Not like I need it or anything.
Whatever.
I love that beach air.
I don't know why this looks like it's under the sand, but...
This looks a little better.
Let's just craft for a second.
Not half bad.
A subject has been terminated.
Ew, what a hassle.
Let's get console. I want to know who's here.
What if I don't want to? Wait! This'll do just that. This'll hurt! Just
Subject has been terminated.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I've done a couple scenes on the beach. Sand was everywhere.
Okay, whatever.
Leftover props?
We do have glove skill.
Not half bad. See you later.
Like this. Let's contest a forestry. I'd rather have glacials on.
Even if I didn't grow up in a place like this, I was still raised well.
Rosie's at
New
tree.
area has been
And so is
restricted.
Barbara. Oh, and Nick. Okay, everyone is at tree. Okay,
This'll hurt.
oh, she
I
already
could go for a
grabbed
nice
tree.
stroll.
Never mind.
Subject has been terminated.
I've seen air supplies in some movies before.
Okay, well, we'll just go for, cemetery then.
Sorry. Take this.
Let's get console.
I'm stunning.
We probably could get this Aya. But I think she left. Edgin. Edgin, it really depends on the matchup, to be honest. Like the skill.
I've done a couple scenes on the beach. Sand was
A
everywhere.
subject has been terminated.
I'm just trying to see where she's going.
Someone is consecutively eliminating
Is she coming this way?
survivors.
No.
Brace yourself. Action. Slow.
How'd that hit?
This'll hurt.
Okay, let's go, let's go.
Whoa. Cool houses.
A subject has been terminated. 10 survivors remain.
Oh,
Gripped by fate.
oh darn it. I didn't mean the
Say
not charge her
hello
for
to
that
my
long.
fists. My turn.
Okay, fine. Now the Hedgen's being chased by... Oh, I can get that person. I probably chased her for too long.
A new area has been
I'm
restricted.
out of food.
A subject has been terminated.
Nicky.
Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors.
Let's go grab this box.
Sand on sets is made out of sand.
Let's go fishing in forest and make some better food.
Thank you so much.
Oh, did I put up... Oh my gosh. I didn't mean to put my point in R at all.
I could go for a nice stroll through the forest. Who can I ask to cook me up some fish?
Yeah, let's go get that person after.
It ain't garbage.
A subject has been terminated. Someone is grounded.
What's this weird thing? Stop! I've done a couple of scenes on the beach. Sand
Okay.
was everywhere. Brace yourself.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Zip lines are fun. A little scary for some.
Being
but
poked by
I'm fine with
everyone.
them.
Let me just rest for a second.
My legs are tired.
Okay.
A subject has been terminated.
Is Semtree still up? No. Figured. I wanted to
Think I
farm
can go
beach a
snag a
bit,
quick
but
shower?
everyone's in beach now. And hotel seems pretty farmed. Barbara, yeah, Barbara got Scotty. Let's get console.
I'm spying. Just application. This'll hurt. Time out. Let's move.
A new area has been restricted.
Brace yourself. This is the real deal.
Let's go this way. She's gonna see us pass by in a second, though.
Man, I used to have a nice bed at home. Me.
Okay. I have no idea which way we went, actually. I'm looking at the map. I don't see Barb.
Brace yourself.
A subject has been terminated.
Leftover props.
We're gonna try making myth gloves. See how that goes.
I never really got to rest at hotels. Brace yourself. Don't break anything.
Okay, there we go.
Something looks different about this. Ew, what a hassle. Take this!
Okay, there we go.
Not half bad. Leftover props? Man.
This IS still does
used
not
to
have an
a nice,
accessory.
comfy bed at home.
What?
What are they giving us? This'll hurt! Is this really necessary?
A subject has been terminated.
Nope, that IS just died.
Survivors. A new area has been restricted.
Man, I used used to have a nice, comfy bed at home.
I'll see if we can find another
A
glove.
subject has been terminated. Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors.
Thank you so much.
I will take that, actually.
Leftover props? Not half bad.
Let's get console again. I lost it. I've been here for way too long. Slippers.
What are they all up to?
Have hospital, school. They're all closed, and I have 21 seconds of timer. I'm just trying to think if there's any way I could dip into one. Like, school would be the best spot for me to dip in. These glacials will, like, really help.
Alright, let's go! This is the real deal.
Darn, she didn't have anything.
Take this! Don't break anything.
Okay, good.
This is the real deal. Man, I used to have a nice, comfy bed
Okay.
at home.
This is like a kind of like a hybrid type build.
They won't believe their eyes!
We can put this on. This would be better against Nicky.
A new area has been restricted.
It just got real! It just got real!
A subject has been terminated. Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors.
Okay, my
3
goodness.
survivors remain.
I never really got to rest at hotels.
Okay, well. Let's see, yeah, they're both spell amp, so.
Alright, let's go! Stones make for good weapons. This looks a little better. Drink if you're thirsty.
Let's take this. This one's SP. Okay.
This is the real deal. Alright, let's go! Me. Take this! My turn.
Wolf
Brace
stop.
yourself.
Okay.
Brace yourself. Was this really necessary?
Let me just do that.
A new area has been restricted.
Okay. We're gonna leave
Think we can go snag a
rockers.
quick shower?
I'd rather have the, that. Let's go grab the water again as well.
I'm a spy, Nicky.
Okay.
Sand on sets is made out of sand. This'll hurt.
There we go.
I'm a spy.
Another Nicky.
Sorry.
Oh, she is kind of stacked, to be honest.
I love that beach air.
She's still on Bloodwing, though.
Whoa, cool houses. Thank you so much.
Honestly, none of us uses it, so I'm fine with leaving it. I have so much cam, so I'm okay.
What are they all up to? Take this! Sorry.
Mithril Helm, okay.
The temporary safe zone will be designated soon.
Even if I didn't grow up in a place like this,
Oh.
I was still raised well. My legs are tired. See you later. Action! Was this really necessary?
Okay, well.
My turn.
Shoot.
Brace yourself.
I don't know who I'd want to face.
Full power.
The temporary safe zone has been designated.
Okay.
Next scene.
Okay, Hedgen popped her ult. We can win this. I'm just watching my timer as well.
A subject has been terminated.
Move.
Only 2 survivors remain.
This is the real deal. Full power. Don't make me mad.
By fate.
Take this. Well, it just got real.
Okay.
Has been terminated.
There we go.
Someone is consecutively eliminating survivors.
Didn't I tell you I packed a real punch?
Yep. If you like this guide, please consider giving it a like. It lets me know if you like these types of videos. And if you like Eternal Return as much as I do, consider subscribing. I hope to see you at the next video.